The night air was thick and oppressive. Salty spray lashed the faces of the men on the swift boat. These were no ordinary sailors. They were modern pirates, ready for a night of plunder. Their leader, Omar, a seasoned veteran, scanned the murky waters. "Anything?" he growled, his voice rough from years of sea and spirits. "Lights, Captain," a lookout called, pointing to the horizon. "Big ship, moving slow, easy prey." Omar's grin widened, a predatory gleam in his eye. Easy targets were a rare find. He raised his binoculars, the lenses fogging in the humid air. Through the mist, he saw the outline of a large vessel, its lights dimmed. "Looks like a cargo ship," Omar muttered, his grin growing. "Tonight, we feast like kings." The pirate's boat, a sleek vessel powered by twin outboard motors, sliced through the waves with precision. The sea was calm, bathed in moonlight that cast a silvery glow on the water, making their approach almost serene. Yet, beneath this calm exterior, tension simmered among the crew. As they neared their target, Omar signaled his men to cut the engines. The sudden silence was deafening, broken only by the gentle lapping of the waves against the hull. Ahead, the large vessel loomed, a dark silhouette against the night sky. They were close enough now to hear the gentle hum of machinery from the larger vessel. This sound was a constant reminder of the wealth that lay within, waiting to be seized. The pirates exchanged glances, their eyes reflecting a mix of greed and fear. It was a sound that promised riches, riches that could change their lives forever. "Remember," Omar whispered, gripping the cold steel of his AK-47, "take what we can carry." His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of uncertainty. "Take what we can carry, no more, no less." The plan was simple, but the execution required precision. No heroes, in and out. Omar's words were a mantra, a reminder of the stakes. The men nodded, their resolve hardening. No heroes, in and out. His men, their faces a mixture of excitement and apprehension, nodded silently. They knew the risks, but the promise of reward was too great to ignore. They had done this before, but each raid brought its own set of challenges. His men, their faces a mixture of excitement and apprehension, nodded silently. The night was their ally, the darkness a cloak that hid their intentions. Using the cover of darkness, they pulled alongside the larger ship. The vessel was a behemoth, its size dwarfing their small boat. It was massive, towering over their small boat. The pirates felt a momentary pang of insignificance, but it was quickly replaced by determination. They had come too far to turn back now. Omar tossed a grappling hook, the metal claws digging into the railing of the deck above. The sound was barely audible, but to the pirates, it was a signal that the raid had begun. One by one, the pirates began to climb, their eyes adjusting to the dim light. The climb was arduous, each movement calculated to avoid detection. The night air was cool, but sweat trickled down their brows. They were close now, so close they could almost taste the victory. The larger vessel's deck was within reach, and with it, the promise of untold riches. The pirates moved with a silent efficiency, their training and experience guiding them. They were predators in the night, and their prey was within grasp. As they reached the deck, the real challenge would begin. But for now, they focused on the task at hand, each step bringing them closer to their goal. The night was theirs, and they intended to claim it. The pirates had no clue that every step they took was under watchful eyes. Confident in their stealth, they were oblivious to the constant surveillance. Deep within the seemingly quiet ship, at its core, a sailor in the Combat Information Center, CIC, kept a close eye on the pirates through a wall of monitors. The dim light from the screens cast eerie shadows around the room. His finger hovered over the alarm button, ready to sound the alert in an instant. "Captain," he said into his headset, his voice steady and professional, masking the tension in the room. We have multiple contacts boarding the starboard side. Looks like pirates." The pirates moved quickly, their intentions unmistakable. "Understood," came the calm response. The captain's voice was a beacon of steadiness amidst the chaos. "Deploy security teams Alpha and Bravo." The order was precise, each team knowing exactly what to do. "And bring the Warhips around." These small, nimble boats were perfect for quick maneuvers in the dark waters. "Let's give our guests a proper welcome." The sailors moved with practiced efficiency, their training evident in every action. On the flight deck, the roar of jet engines shattered the night. The aircraft were prepped and ready, their engines humming with power. 2 SH-60 Seahawk helicopters, their rotors thundering, lifted off the deck and vanished into the darkness. These helicopters were crucial to the operation, a silent threat to the pirates. They were armed and ready, their weapon systems primed for action. Their crews equipped with night vision goggles, able to see clearly in the pitch-black night. Their mission: intercept and observe. The night buzzed with activity, each element of the operation moving in perfect harmony. The net was closing in on the pirates, leaving no room for escape. As the pirates swarmed the deck, they spread out quickly, their footsteps resonating in the eerie silence. The air was thick with the scent of salt and something else, something metallic and unsettlingly familiar. They advanced cautiously, every sense heightened. "What is this place?" one pirate murmured, his voice tinged with anxiety. The deck seemed endless, far larger than any cargo ship they had ever seen. Suddenly, a voice thundered over the loudspeaker, reverberating across the deck. "Attention intruders! You have boarded a United States Navy warship. Stand down and surrender immediately. You are surrounded." The pirates froze, their blood running cold. A warship? This was no ordinary vessel. They were hopelessly outmatched. Emerging from the shadows, heavily armed figures with night vision goggles took their positions. Their movements were a symphony of precision, honed by countless hours of rigorous training. The pirates, caught off guard, were hopelessly outmatched. Blinding spotlights pierced the darkness, turning night into day. Startled, the pirates spun around, their eyes struggling to adjust to the sudden brightness. And then they saw it, the colossal island structure, the angled flight deck, bristling with an intimidating array of weaponry. This was no ordinary warship. It was a floating fortress. Panic erupted among the pirates. They dashed for cover, some abandoning their weapons in sheer terror. There was no escape, no place to hide. The sailors advanced with precision, their weapons locked on the intruders. From the sea, 2 Warhips roared towards the carrier. They pulled alongside, and heavily armed Navy SEALs, faces set with determination, boarded the ship. The SEALs, masters of such operations, moved with lethal precision, securing the deck and sealing off any escape. Omar, his bravado shattered, felt a wave of fear. He had made a grave miscalculation. This was no easy target. This was a steel giant, and they were ensnared in its grip. The pirates, once dreaming of easy plunder, were swiftly overpowered and disarmed. The Navy personnel moved with precision and efficiency, their training evident in every motion. The pirates, who had once felt invincible, now found themselves at the mercy of a force far greater than they had ever imagined. Herded together on the deck, the pirates were forced to their knees under the vigilant eyes of their captors. The cold steel of the ship's deck pressed against their skin, a stark contrast to the warm waters they had once ruled. Reality began to sink in, and the weight of their choices bore down heavily upon them. The sailors, their faces hardened with professionalism, wasted no words. Their silence spoke volumes. Each movement was deliberate, each action a testament to their discipline and training. The pirates could see the resolve in their eyes, a silent promise that there would be no escape, no second chances. Omar, his wrists bound behind his back, looked around at his men, their faces etched with fear and regret. He had promised them wealth and glory, but now all he could see was despair. The trust they had placed in him was shattered, and he could feel their silent accusations. He had led them into a trap, a mistake that would cost them dearly. The weight of his decisions pressed down on him, and he couldn't help but wonder how things had gone so wrong. The dreams of riches and power had turned into a nightmare, and there was no waking from it. Above them, the Seahawk helicopters circled, their presence a constant reminder of the overwhelming force they were facing. The sound of the rotors was deafening, a relentless reminder of their defeat. The pirates had underestimated their enemy, and now they were paying the price. The enormity of their misjudgment settled upon them like a physical weight. Each pirate felt the crushing reality of their situation, the hopelessness of their predicament. They had gambled everything and lost, and now they were at the mercy of their captors. They had mistaken a superpower for a soft target. Their arrogance had blinded them to the true strength of their adversary. The Navy's response had been swift and decisive, leaving no room for doubt about who held the upper hand. It was a mistake they would not live to repeat. The lesson was a harsh one, but it was now etched into their very souls. The price of their hubris was clear, and the consequences were inescapable. The pirates had learned too late that some battles are unwinnable. As the first light of dawn painted the ocean in gold, the captured pirates were handed over to the vigilant U.S. Coast Guard. The aircraft carrier, having completed its night mission, resumed its relentless patrol, a formidable symbol of the United States Navy's might and reach. This encounter was a powerful reminder, a wake-up call to anyone daring to challenge the world's most dominant navy. The ocean may be vast, but it offers no sanctuary, not from the ever-watchful eyes of the U.S. Navy.